Dear students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Professor P. Bhaskar Reddy, Department of Ancient Indian History, Culture and Archaeology, Sri Venkateswara University, Tirupati. The present module of the paper Outlines of Indian History, we are going to learn about the individual satyagraha, Quit India movement and up to 1947. Since it is a last module of the course, we have covered very briefly from the suspension of civil disobedience movement up to 1947. The objectives and the contents dealt in the module are the freedom movement in India after civil disobedience movement, the individual satyagrahas, the circumstances led to the Quit India movement, the phase and course of the Quit India movement, further developments in the freedom movement up to Independence India 1947. With these objectives, let us start our discussion in a brief about the developments that took place in the freedom movement after the suspension of civil disobedience movement to understand the background and various developments up to the starting of Quit India movement. After the abandonment of the civil disobedience movement, the Congress concentrated on constructive programs, but the decision of the Congress to suspend the movement caused disappointment in the country. As a result, the Congress Socialist Party was formed on all India basis in the year 1934. Similarly, the Swaraj Party was revived by Dr. Ansari, B.C. Rai and Bholabhai Desai in the same year 1934. The Communist Party also began to be reorganized and front organizations came to be established since 1930 onwards. Another interesting feature was there was a greater awakening among the peasants who started various organizations to protest for their grievances. In that, the Kisan organizations were founded under the leadership of Swami Sahajanand, N.G. Ranga and Indulal Yagnik for the abolition of landlordism, reduction of land tax, etc. They organized Kisan movements at national and provincial level and formed Indian Kisan Congress in the year 1936 and later called them as All India Kisan Sabha. All these developments, particularly in political in nature, they brought awareness not only on political but also on economic issues and provided a stimulus for the further strengthening of national movement. Meanwhile, elections were conducted to the provincial councils. Besides the above political developments, at this stage, elections were held to the provincial legislature in 1937 under the Government of India Act of 1935. The Congress participated in this election, though they boycotted in earlier stages. They achieved notable victory by clear majority of 6 out of 11 British provinces and became single largest party in 3 others. While the Congress was in office, it also concentrated on constructive work such as promotion of primary education, upliftment of Harijans, reducing peasant grievances and implementation of prohibition. Thus, though the civil disobedience movement is suspended, many political developments took place after that, and also this type of peasant organizations helped for the further promotion of national movement, and also the Congress participation in the elections, it paved the way for solving the grievances of the people in various forms. Meanwhile, the Second World War took place. In 1939, the Second World War started and India was made a party to it without consulting popular ministers. This was the beginning for dissensions among the Congress leaders. The Congress sought clarification of the war and aims of the government of the British. The then Viceroy Lord Lincoln refused to give any clarification. Thus, the Congress ministers resigned in protest of that decision on 29th October 1939. This was the base for the development of further freedom movement. Later, it resulted for the starting of individual satyagrahas. Now, we may shift to our discussion. The impact of the Second World War and the individual satyagrahas, which led to further promotion of the national movement. When the Congress demanded declaration of independence in lieu of India's support in the war, the British refused. Therefore, Gandhi asked the Congress members to launch the individual satyagraha. The Congress committees in various levels converted themselves into satyagraha committees. Simultaneously, the Congress continued dialogue with the government to find a solution in another way. As a result, Viceroy Lord Linlithgow issued on 8th August 1940 a statement known as the August Offer. However, the Congress, who was not satisfied with the provisions of the Congress Offer, rejected it. It caused disappointment among the congressmen also. Hence, Gandhi decided to start a limited satyagraha on an individual basis by a few select individuals in every locality. Thus, individual satyagrahas also became a part and parcel of the Indian national movement before the Quit India movement. Among that, Acharya Vinoba Bhave was the first individual to offer satyagraha on 17th October 1940, but later he was arrested. His example was followed by Nehru and several others. As a result, there was a wide sharp rise in the number of satyagrahis. However, this type of satyagrahi movements lost its vigor by the middle of the year 1941 due to the countermeasure of the government and practically came to an end by December 1941. While this type of individual satyagrahis are going on and Second World War was in peak stage, the government also had a second thing and they tried to resolve the problems of the Congress and also they tried to patch up with the nationalists. Thus, Cripps mission was sent to India for further discussions. Now we may shift our discussion, the impact of the Second World War and Cripps mission and the details regarding its progress. By March 1942, the forces of the British enemy, Japan, occupied Singapore, Rangoon and Andamans and even threatened British India frontiers. Anxious to have the full and active cooperation of the India in the Second World War, the British Prime Minister Churchill announced in the House of Commons on 11th March 1942 the appointment of Sir Stafford Cripps to visit and get India's support for their purpose. After the appointment of Cripps mission, the mission arrived in Delhi on 22nd March 1942 and released to the press the draft declaration of the government where it was stated with several provisions. Among that, the important are India would be given domain status and right to live even the Commonwealth after the completion of Second World War. The second one is a Constituent Assembly would be set up to implement these proposals. The Constituent Assembly would consist of elective representatives from Britain and nominees of native states. A native state, if it so desired, could remain outside the Indian Union and negotiate directly with the Britain. The last but not the least is the defense of India during the war would be under the control of British, but there would be an Indian as a defense member. Thus, the Cripps mission placed all these proposals before the nationalists. However, the nationalists rejected the proposal of Cripps. Even all parties also rejected the offer. Meanwhile, at Visakhapatnam and Kakinada in Andhra were bombed by Japan on April 6, 1942. Thus, after this incident, the Quit India movement began to start its grounds. With the discussion on the national movement after the suspension of the civil disobedience movement and various developments that took place in between civil disobedience movement and Quit India, now we may hope that these factors paved the way for the starting of another important phase, that is Quit India movement, which it is a blow among the people to oust the Indians from Indian soil. Regarding the Quit India movement is concerned, the All India Congress Committee met at Allahabad from 29th April and urged for independence. The Congress Committee also met at Wardha and passed a resolution on 14th May 1942 calling upon Britain to transfer power and quit India immediately so that Japanese attack of India could be avoided. As there was no response from the Britain, the All India Congress Committee once again met at Bombay and passed the famous Quit India resolution on 8th August 1942 calling for a mass struggle under the leadership of Mahatma Gandhi. Thus, a big program Quit India movement was began. In this meeting, in his address, Gandhi urged the people to forge difference between Hindus and Muslims and to think themselves as Indians only. In his address, he said that we shall either free India or die in the attempt. We shall not live to see the perpetuation of our slavery. In his eloquent speech, he floated, "Do or die" was the mantra which Gandhi gave to the people of India. The resolution was moved by Jawaharlal Nehru and seconded by Vallabhbhai Patel. In spite of the resolution, Gandhi tried to meet Viceroy to get the independence, but it resulted in vain. Gandhi, Jawaharlal Nehru and others were arrested while they announced this news of resolution and the arrest reached the people. There was a spontaneous response to the movement from all parts of the country. As a countermeasures, the government of British banned all Congress committees, activities, arrested all prominent leaders of the Congress. Inspired by the Gandhiji's do or die speech, the common masses also eagerly jumped into the movement despite lack of direct leadership. It created widespread resentment in all parts of India. The people voluntarily protested by observing hartals, processions, etc. One of the important features of the course of the Quit India movement is this time the movement not only confined to non-violence, but it has gone into violent way. Particularly the students were in forefront of the movement. During the course of civil disobedience movement, railway traffic were disrupted. Telephone and telegraph wires were cut down and government officials were also attacked. And the British institutions, which were the symbols of authority, were also badly damaged. It is known that by the end of 1st December 1943, the sabotage and losses in the country included 474 roads, 382 railway stations, 12,286 posts and telegraphs, 66 derailments. This shows about the non-violent turning of the civil disobedience movement. Besides the students and protests, public servants also gave up their jobs and joined in the national movement. Lawyers extended their sympathy and moral support to the movement. Even the village municips, who played a vital role in administration, abstained from reporting about the movement to the British government. The teachers also resigned to their posts and joined in the movement to strengthen. Despite the government threat, the public servants and local bodies closely associated themselves with the movement. Even the Muslims also participated in the movement. This was one of the important aspects. By all these activities and involvement of all sections of the society, the government completely lost hold over many places. In the last phase, the Quit India movement became mild as its first phase. It continued till Gandhi's release in May 1944 in the form of demonstrations. Up to this point, we have discussed the Quit India movement, particularly regarding its inception, course of movement, and how the movement was spread all over the country, and how the movement turned into a violent one. It is known that it became a movement of all sections of the Indian society. When the movement was in peak stage, the British government also have taken several measures in rapt condition to oppress the movement. Now we may shift our discussion how the British government suppressed the Quit India movement, and that suppression, how it resulted for the further progress of the movement up to 1947. The government during the course of Quit India movement adopted stringent measures against the protesters. The provincial governors also issued draconian ordinances to quell the movement. The government frequently used Section 144 of Criminal PC for prohibiting meetings and others. However, the people extended their support to the struggle. Even after the suspension of the Quit India movement, there are several incidents that took place from 1942 to 1947, which it resulted for getting of independence in India, but we can confine our discussion in very concise manner with brief points. One of the important development that took place in the post-Quit India movement is self-purification past of Gandhi. While the government was engaged in suppression of the movement, Gandhi, who was accused by the Viceroy for the violent and the sabotage act, undertook a self-purificatory fast on 10th February 1943, which continued up to 3rd March 1943. When the Gandhi taken up the self-purification path, the people were thrown into anxiety. With Gandhi's fast, the country became very tense. When the Gandhi taken up the purification fast, at the time there was a political deadlock in the country. As a result, Lord Wavell came as a viceroy in October 1943. It was felt necessary to release Gandhi and others, and this was done on 6th May 1944. With this, the nation heaved a sigh of relief. Another important development that took place in the progress of the national movement is the Jinnah-Gandhi talks to resolve the issues between the Hindu and Muslims. Now we can shift to discuss the provisions of the Jinnah Pact and its results. In September 1944, Gandhi started negotiations with Jinnah to solve the communal problems. But in this also he failed. The news of the breakdown of the talks had caused widespread disappointment. While the Gandhi-Jinnah talks were failed, now the Wavell entered into the scene and he proposed his own plan to suppress the dissensions among the Hindus and Muslims. Now we can shift out to discuss about the Wavell plan. Meanwhile, Wavell went to London in March 1945 and came back with his Wavell plan. On 15th June 1945, all the Congress Working Committee members were released and a conference was convened at Simla on 25th June 1945. Though the proposals were conciliatory to some extent, the conference failed due to Jinnah's insistence that Muslim League alone should have right to nominate Muslim members to the Viceroy's Council. At the same time, there was a breaking incident occurred in the world history, that is, the Labour Party with Attlee as Prime Minister came to power in Britain. In their policy, Attlee released all the political prisoners and ordered general elections to solve India's problems and its crisis. The Indian National Army, INA, trials the revolt of the Indian naval rating at Bombay in February 1946 also added a fight to the situation for the further progress. It became clear that the government of Britain could no longer prolong the situation because of all these developments. The next development of the national movement is on September 1946, Jawaharlal Nehru assumed office at the center as the head of the interior government. This was another important development in the progress of the national movement. At that time, resolutions congratulating him poured in for forming the Congress government. Another significant event of the Indian national movement in the 1946 is when there was broke out communal clashes in Noakhali and Tipperah districts of East Bengal. Gandhi undertook a peace march to that area in October 1946, appealing to both the Hindus and the Muslims to maintain communal harmony. The tense atmosphere continued throughout the country till February 1947. When this type of tension is there in India, it was on this day that Clement Attlee, the Prime Minister of England, made the declaration that it was the British government intention to take steps to affect the transfer of power to responsible Indian hands by a date not later than June 1948. In his plan of 3rd June 1947, he outlines the procedure of transfer of power into Indian hands. Accordingly, the transfer of power, Mountbatten was sent to India. He took charge as a Viceroy of India on 24th March 1947 and he made negotiations with both Gandhi and Jinnah. Accordingly, Attlee announced a partition plan in the House of Commons on 3rd June 1947. After fruitful discussion with Gandhi and Jinnah, the Independence Bill received the royal assent on 18th July 1947. Accordingly, it provided the two dominions for the Indian subcontinent by dividing India and Pakistan, and also decided to withdraw Britain forces from India on 15th August 1947. The Congress also accepted the plan and proposal. As a result, the goal is achieved. The India attained independence on 15th August 1947. The dawn of Indian independence was received with universal rejoicing of all over the country. The people of India who fought for a long period of nearly 150 years for Indian independence, they celebrated the event with great fervor and joy. Have a look at the joy celebrated by the people of India at Red Fort. So far in the module, we have covered all the aspects of the Indian national movement from the point when the civil disobedience movement was suspended and covered up to 1947. Though our discussion is in brief and concise, try to focus all the important developments that took place in this particular period. I hope that you may understood the events and how the India reached its goal by the celebration of independence. Besides that, it is a last module. We have to brief about the content which we discussed in all the 40 modules. It is a background of the subject Indian culture. Hence, we covered all the aspects of Indian history. Though it is a outlines, we tried our level best to cover the important events as a background for the subjects. Thank you.